When the one with the rifle gets killed, the one who is tolerating picks up the rifle and shoots.
Welcome to the 10th episode of the Pick Up the Rifle and Shoot series, featuring my Glenfield Model 60, today more commonly known as the Marlin Model 60. Model 60s are quite arguably the most popular .22 rifle ever made, with millions sold since their introduction in 1960. The Glenfield models were the budget versions by Marlin, but they are still high quality and actually more desirable, especially ones with a 22-inch barrel, 18-round capacity, and of course, the Squirrel stock. Today, new versions of the Model 60 come in many variations and features, but I find the older ones better made and a lot more appealing. So here she is, my beautiful Glenfield Model 60. My Model 60 is very special to me. Not only does she have all those desirable features, but her serial number dates to 1978. She is as old as I am. I acquired her from Simpsons Limited, and she came with the original box and manual, and appeared to be new old stock. She was in absolute perfect condition. I kept her as a safe queen, but decided it's time to stretch out her legs and get her range ready, especially after finding out Model 60s are legal in NRA small bore silhouette matches. I'll go over more detail, but let's make sure she's all clear. First up is the beautiful hardwood stock and plastic butt plate. What makes this a Squirrel stock is the engravings on the grip, a squirrel and a pentagon with extended lines, which actually provides a nice textured grip. Next, I added a rear peep sight from Tech Sights made for the Model 60, which mounts on the receiver and is fully adjustable for windage and elevation. As mentioned, the serial number on the receiver dates to 1978 manufacture. The forend of the stock continues the squirrel motif with engraved oak leaves and extended lines, providing a nice textured grip. On the barrel has the engravings of Glenfield Model 60 along with the Marlin Firearms Company when they were in North Haven, Connecticut. For the front sight, Tech Sights included a taller front sight that is a direct replacement to accommodate for the taller rear peep sight. I also replaced the front post with one from an AR-15, which is nice and wide and a lot easier for my eyes to focus on, especially for cutting the targets in half for center mass holds. I did have to remove a third from the bottom so it will sit flush on the front sight base, otherwise they drop right in. Now let's go flip her on to the other side. Here's another view of the beautiful hardwood stock. I really like how the squirrel motif engravings are. It really adds a lot of character to the rifle. With the Tech Sights mounted high on the receiver, it really made shooting a lot more comfortable with a high comb on the stock. The Tech Sights are really well made and provide exceptional accuracy, but adjusting the elevation is quite tedious, and adjustable range is something left to be desired, as you'll see in the shooting portions of this video. The arrow on the charging handle is to push it in to lock the bolt back, as there's no last round bolt hold open and no lever to release the bolt underneath. Overall, I'm very happy with my Glenfield Model 60. The longer barrel and tube magazine looks just right, and in my opinion, more proportionate compared to other Model 60s. The longer sight radius is also a big plus, especially when shooting with irons. With the Glenfield models being known as the budget version, is quite a misnomer. I feel they are actually better made than newer production Model 60s. I guess they just don't make them like they used to. And lastly, I want to show the box label that my Glenfield Model 60 came with. The box is still intact, it's just the label fell off. On the other hand, it's a lot easier to show the label than the box. Now let's get on with shooting. Off to the 25-yard range. I always shoot rifles new to me at 25 yards to make sure they function fine and I'm able to group and eventually zero them. I found that CCI standard velocity shot very well with my Model 60 and had no malfunctions. So I adjusted the rear sight and shot 5 rounds to confirm my 25-yard zero. As you can see, 3 rounds hit perfectly center, and the other 2, well, that's all shooter error. The rifle is fine. Now let's see how she does at 50 meters. For silhouette matches, I like my baseline 0 at 75 meters for turkeys, and I'll adjust elevation for each of the remaining distances. However, with the text size, the elevation is limited, and I could not zero at 100 meters even with the rear sight all the way up. The rear sight was borderline about to come off. So I decided just to zero at 50-meter pigs and just learn my holds. I'll probably file down the front post to get it in range, but for now the 50-meter zero would have to do. And to my surprise, at 50 meters, I didn't have to adjust my sights for my 25-yard zero. Let's see how it goes. As you can see, all 5 rounds hit well into the center with a 25-yard zero at 50 meters. Very cool. Now let's see how she does at 100 meters. Being unable to properly zero at 100 meters doesn't stop me from trying. I had to learn anyways how high I would have to hold for 100-meter rams. So with further testing, I learned with a 50-meter zero, the bullet drops approximately 10 inches with CCI standard velocity. So I held center as best as I could about 4 inches above my 12-inch circle target and proceeded to shoot 10 rounds. Let's see how it goes. As you can see, even with a 4-inch holdover, 8 rounds grouped together, left of center with the exception of 2. And with that data, my Glenfield Model 60 can at least do 3.63 MOA at 100 meters with the ammo that I'm using, CCI Standard Velocity 40 grain. I always say shoot at least 10 rounds and measure 8 to see what you're capable of with the rifle and ammo use. But doing holdovers is not a fair representative of what my Glenfield Model 60 can actually do. However, I am impressed to say the least that I was able to manage a 4-inch group at 100 meters this way. Now it's time for the RAM challenge. I set up a shooting gallery of 5 1/5 scale rams at 100 meters and challenged myself to knock them off with only 10 rounds. I'm holding approximately 8 inches above, and surprisingly, I was able to complete the challenge on the second try in very windy conditions. Now let's see how it went. I superimposed all the hits so you can see how the group looks. I was hitting left of center. Holding over was definitely a challenge, especially with no reference point, but I was able to manage to knock off all 5 rams in 8 rounds. Challenge completed. So there you have it, my Glenfield Model 60, able to shoot for groups and even clear the ram challenge. I also want to mention that I did shoot her in the last silhouette match, taking first place in my division, which was surprising since it was my first time shooting her at a match. I think my Model 60 is going to give my Henry Classic lever action a run for its money. We'll see. Till next time, thanks for watching.